this representation of their 7 years happy life and everything we see on Instagram, do we get the idea that the life is good out there for the Sussexes?
Well,
you go first.
OK, I'll go first. I think that life in Montecito is pretty good. It's a very beautiful place. You have a very beautiful life. It's not probably terribly real, but it suits them. And I think they are probably very happy. That Harry is devoted to the children. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, what does he do all the time? But if you've got a lot of legal cases running, as you know, Matt, because you work for a newspaper, so you know about legalities of things, it's not very peaceful, and it's incredibly time-consuming and, and very upsetting. You could be on the phone to lawyers all morning. And Harry still has a lot of legal cases running. So I think that is defining his life wrongly at the moment. But I think his marriage is very happy.
I would agree on the marriage point. I think, they will have had their bumps because every marriage does. Like, it's not, there isn't a marriage out there where you never have arguments, you never have dips or low points. Absolutely all marriages do, and they will have themselves. And they've had some incredibly pressured moments, like how did Meghan feel when Harry put the frostbite story in his book and all of a sudden they were being ridiculed in America? Like, it must have put a huge amount of strain and pressure on the relationship.
Well, what about the time he described how he lost his virginity in a field?
In a field, but then also, how did Harry feel when Meghan did the fake curtsy on the Netflix show? He might well have felt quite upset about her doing that. So I'm sure that they have had their moments, but at the core of it, I think they know that they are nothing without each other in reality. They need each other, and they have a great, objectively on paper, a fantastic life out there in a beautiful part of the world. 2 beautiful children, hobnobbing with all of these big power players from the world of Hollywood. But some people, they take their problems with them. And I think that's where Harry is right now. And Harry has not built as much in America as Meghan has.
And also when he gave that interview, sorry to bang on Matt, to the BBC, he looked
He looked so angry.
Harry is very emotional and gets very, very, very angry. And,
he's a hothead.
He's very intense. He's got the Spencer temper.
Yeah.
And they all have it.
But this is the thing is, I was thinking to myself, why has he done this with the BBC interview? And I couldn't get away from the fact that Meghan didn't do this and doesn't do this kind of stuff because Meghan has built this whole thing in America with her lifestyle brand and her new Netflix show and her podcast. And because she's built this new thing, she doesn't want to wreck it and she doesn't want to ruin it. So she's got something she's fighting for. Harry's not built anything out in America. He's got nothing to fight for. He's got nothing to force him to restrain himself when he gets angry. And so I just cannot get away from the fact that the solution to most of Harry's problems actually is just to build something fantastic in America that people can get excited about and stop, and then he will be able to let go of the past. But I think
I think you should be his new advisor.
Well, he doesn't listen to his advisors. So.
We give Harry and Meghan advice every week on this show. I can confirm that I don't think they listen to or take away any of the advice. But we become body language experts in many ways, don't we? We become or looking at pictures or reading things into how we see the couple acting and the consequences of their actions, as you discussed. I mean, I say the BBC interview was cataclysmic for their strategy.
Yeah.
Because there was an opportunity there for the reconciliation.
A 2-year strategy blown up in one interview.
It was absolutely dreadful idea. But going back to the mood board, going back to how their kind of life is there, are we agreeing there's kind of no 7-year itch then? I mean, things are moving on quite well as far as we're aware. I did a story this week saying that Harry would never leave Meghan, no. But obviously they've gone through. They've had between them. There's been a lot of sacrifices.
I think that they are dependent on each other, though.
Yeah,
totally. Well, that's what you said, Jack.
Yeah, I agree.
So we are in total agreement. They are very dependent on each other.
There was this story that Meghan, had her people approach someone about a divorce book. But I mean, imagine if Meghan left Harry, it would destroy her reputation. She would be eviscerated publicly because she's already slipped into this kind of category on social media. The way that pop culture commentators talk about her, they lump her in with Amber Heard. They lump her in with, these other famous women who are perceived as being narcissistic or, being controlling of their husbands. Alec Baldwin's wife got this treatment the other day. Blake Lively as well. So if she walked out on Harry, she would never reputationally survive it. But then Harry, without Meghan, what's his life in America going to be like?
Well, he wouldn't leave the children, you see. And in America, the rules about children, they're always with the mother, nearly always.
Yeah.
So I mean, so it's not going to happen. So do you remember 5 years? Everyone, when they got married, a lot of members actually of the royal family even said it won't last 5 years, but it has.
It has.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Absolutely.
lasted 7.
Yeah.
Through a lot of crises, through a lot of
huge pressure.
You talk about some strategic errors. I mean, that would be a major strategic error on Meghan's behalf, basically, if we looked at it strategically.
Yeah, and obviously you can't just look at your marriage strategically because you live it daily. But strategically, it would be a catastrophic mistake.
Interesting.
And I think I think she does need Harry. I think she does, and she must know by now that she doesn't get everything right.
Yeah. So we're behaviour experts. We're marriage experts.
But without Harry,
we're allowed to.
she is nothing.
She's nothing, and without her, Harry's life in America is nothing.
Well, yes, exactly.
He has a reputation to fall back
So they
on.
have a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they need each other.
Yeah.
Now, one thing Meghan does do without Harry is her podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm open that I rarely listen to it. I know we spoke the other day, Jack, and I said, have you been listening to the podcast? And me and you were kind of, we listen to it on high speed, or that we do pay attention to it, but we're probably not the target audience. It's the penultimate episode that's just occurred this week. Is it succeeding? Are enough people watching it? Is it working for Meghan?
So one big question here is, what did she expect it to be? Does she need it to be top 10? It's not top 10. It has, the first episode or two when we were all writing loads of news lines off the back of it, that got into the top 10. It very quickly dropped out again. It's now not even in the top 200 on Apple. It is in the top 100 business podcasts somewhere in the 60s. So it's not hugely well listened to.
But the publicity around it is amazing.
Well, not so much anymore. I think, as I say, I think the journalists are kind of
Every
turning off.
day people are writing about it. I mean, I'm out of the news world, and I promise you, and people never stop writing, and I look at it and I think, well, Netflix or the podcast or Meghan must be delighted. She may not have the hits of people watching it, but gosh, she's had some amazing publicity.
So does it serve the purpose that it gives deeper insights into her life rather than this idea of being an entrepreneur? She often throws little nuggets on. I think this week she was talking about how having children was not how she envisioned it. Is that the idea that she's giving a little glimpse into Montecito?
Yeah, so the comment about the children, where she was saying she thought before she had Archie that she was going to have him on her hip while she was giving speeches as a royal, so she would be going to a royal event and Archie would be with her, which obviously never happened. So that was what she was saying. She the life of parenting was not what she envisaged.
But she only had to look at other royal mothers to know that
it's not possible.
It's a no-go, isn't it?
It's just not
How
possible.
lovely it would be, but it's a no-go. You can't have the kid